All right, David Brock's back. SHUKC Sports Pass. We are joined by the girls' head coach at Schlagle, Mr. Mark Western. How are you doing?
It's good to be here.
Well, I know. We're for some fun guys to hang around. So talk a little bit about your job so far. I got to tell you, I got to be 100% honest. When I first had the first conversation with you when came to practice, I was like, man, you had me convinced that this team was going to be fantastic. And you're showing it on the court with their style of play and everything you do. Talk a little bit about your team and what your assessment is so far this season.
Yeah, well, I think after we talked, I think we started out 0-2, and you're probably looking like, what is this guy talking about? But, I kind of thought, I don't know what the reason is. All my teams start out a little bit slow, even as a JV coach. And with, I just think it's our system. The system that I've been in, it's a lot of pressure, up-tempo as much as we can. I think it takes some adjustment. I think it takes some conditioning. First couple games just ugly. 41 points and 47 points, not going to win too many games. We've been able to run a little bit more. We've been able to get a little bit better with our pressures. We run off 5 straight. And I think the kids are just adjusting a little bit. I think the conditioning is up. Getting them late in the summertime didn't do any favors in terms of trying to build that conditioning and stamina. I think year one with any coach is always the toughest challenge. Kids have to buy into what you're doing, and then they've got to get to where their bodies can handle what you're trying to put out there.
So how are you enjoying Schlagle? How are you liking the Stallions, Schlagle High School?
From a teaching standpoint, I'm just in love with the kids. I mean, it's coming from Shawnee Mission North, real similar kids. I mean, it's really surprising. Coming over to KC Cat, I didn't know what to expect. Hadn't been around USD 500. Attended Shawnee Mission School District my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Went back and coached there for 7 years, and it's refreshing. The kids, they want somebody that is. They can see through the nonsense. If you care about them, they believe in you. They trust you. If you don't, they feel that out real quick. So from just a strictly teaching standpoint, I couldn't be at a better place. Got a great group of administrators, which obviously helps. I think there's a lot of teachers that aren't able to say that. Supportive athletic director. So from that standpoint, it's been perfect. And when you've got a couple good kids, it makes it enjoyable from a basketball standpoint as well.
No, I even think that, like, across from the office
Mm-hmm.
at Schlagle, there's these big pictures on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, going out and seeing me every once in a while is probably a positive thing, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I tease Peyton all the time. I think one time I said, I was talking about something, what we were trying to do, and he said, you ain't got a picture up on the wall yet, so you just need to calm down. And he's got a couple of them.
He got a couple.
So if we can somehow in the next 10 or 20 years get one of those hung up, I'll move Peyton's big old mug down the hallway.
He has to pay somebody off. That's what it is. That's how you get on there.
So one of the big things in KCK, and I talked to you about it when I came to the practices, KCK girls basketball has been hard to watch at times when they go outside of the area and play in Johnson County and the Metro Academies, the Shawnee Mission North. You got 2 of those played 2 of those games, not only competitive, but you were able to get wins. Talk a little bit about the mindset change that you've had to implement with the kids and the perception of even the families and even the fans of Schlagle.
Yeah, for me it was just like that's what we're expected to do. I'm used to playing Sunfire League teams, so Shawnee Mission North, Shawnee Mission, whoever, doesn't matter. We're going to go out and compete. I think for the girls, I told you, I think on media day, 7 out of my 9 play summer ball. They're certainly not concerned with what the jersey says. So they see Metro Academy and they say, well, we're just as good as these kids. They see Shawnee Mission North and they say, well, there's 4 of them that play summer ball and the rest were. So that there's no fear there. I think it was just a matter of us, winning that first game against one of those teams so they can say, all right, I get it. We can do this. And at the same time, probably I needed that to say, all right, I'm telling these kids all this. Let's go win one. We lose to Highland Park in that second game, and we're looking around at each other in the locker room saying, what's wrong? What's broke? And you don't want to, try to completely scrap everything and start fresh. You got to believe in what you're doing and what you've done in the last decade that's been successful, but you need a win to show these kids, yes, this is going to be effective. This is going to work. You guys are in the right positions to be successful.
So last night this week you knocked off Metro Academy 69-66. You guys had a good 10-0, 12-0 run, I believe, working off the extended pressure. Talk a little bit about how your team has kind of embraced your philosophy that you brought to the table, a little bit of that 3-2 zone and the ability to score off of it.
Well, I'll start with the 3-2 zone. I don't, I've run my first 3 years. I ran a 3-2 zone under a guy that he that's what he liked to do in the half court. And it allowed us to kind of release the top girl into 3-2 and kind of get out and run a little bit. And to be honest, I hated it. I mean, it was one thing, and he's the best. He's a great coach. He's the best coach that I've been around. His name's Jeff Neal. He's a college coach out in Colorado right now, and we had a nice little run at Golden High School in Colorado. I'd always bother, Jeff's like a second dad to me, and we'd talk over after a game, and why do we got to run that 3-2 so much? Let's get down and guard and man, and that's what I believed in, and that's what my JV teams did, and I never run a 3-2 zone. And weirdly enough, things come full circle, and now I'm running a 3-2 zone. And I told you, I think the other week, I don't love the 3-2 right now, but the kids enjoy it. And as weird as that sounds, that's really important. Kids,
you can just see it in the film and how they fly around to the ball.
They do.
Rihanna had the one where she's diving out of bounds and throws it over her head and goes down and gets off a break. I mean, it
allows you to get in the passing lane.
It does.
A little bit.
And I'm without giving away too much, I've kind of bought into that pack line mentality in the half court man and not extending out as much. I just don't think the risk reward is quite as big as people think, or you're not going to benefit off of it as much as you're going to give up something. So the 3-2 does allow us to be a little more aggressive. I like to extend out, but there's been games, the Shawnee Mission North game, we only pressed 4 or 5 possessions. It was just one of those deals where I didn't like how it looked. The guards were chopping it up, and so we had to make an adjustment. The Metro game, probably the best guards we've gone against this year, and we were able to just wear them down a little bit, and by the end of it, you saw it. It didn't really work until the third quarter, but finally we were able to put a little ball pressure on and extend the 3-2 out, and it takes a different point for each team for that breaking point. I thought Harmon, just to jump on what we did Thursday, handled our pressure tremendously in the first quarter. It was. I'm kind of sitting there like, well, we scored 13 points in the first quarter against Harmon. Well, the second quarter we go on a 22-0 run, and it's 35-3 at halftime, and so it's just a breaking point for individual teams. It took Metro a little bit longer. Shawnee Mission North, I felt like they were going to score 60 if we didn't pull the pressure off, so I just we backed up and we ran a soft zone the whole game.
Well, I told Letcher, Coach Letcher at Piper earlier, because you said the guy in Colorado was the best coach.
Yeah. You
kind of been around. I told Morris to get a notebook, bring it, and write down. Same thing, get a notebook, come to the All-Star game, write down everything he does, and don't do it. So that's going to be my advice to
now,
you.
Are you doing KCAL girls too?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, KCAL girls, you're gonna just like you said. I think you're gonna get out and go.
Yeah.
Mine are used to it, so don't need to drop too
Boom.
much.
Don't need to
Booyah.
roll the ball out. He don't really have to do nothing at all. Really,
give Shay a high ball screen and just kind of let her go.
No skill whatsoever. Just no skill from a coaching perspective. Just roll the ball out there. It's all good. So I noticed when you guys practice, you did the drill going back and forth, and it seemed like you guys did it for like maybe the first half hour of practice, or at least up until I left, or just going back and forth. That's got to be a big aspect of why you guys have the ability to finish so well at the rim, because you're constantly working on it and going back and forth and building the.
I don't like to just yell baseline. I mean, it happens. I mean, I'm not the type of coach that's going to run kids into the ground just from a standpoint of we're going to shoot free throws and run, and we're going to but if we can get our conditioning with a basketball, I think every kid would prefer that. And I don't think there's really a way to teach basketball endurance without, and you can run, full lines or whatever you guys called them, suicides back in the day, but get a basketball in your hand and get up and down and have to short bursts, quick explosive movements, and then learn to play. I think that's the best way to get kids in shape. So that's what we did in Colorado. We ran a lot and with the ball in our hands, and it was successful. So it's just a copycat game. I'm not very smart. I just try to steal whatever I can.
All right, so let's got a few players to talk about. Kind of like David, I mean, I can say this is probably one of the few times I've ever gone to watch girls basketball with not having to be there because the boys' game we're broadcasting.
I think that's a good point to bring up, too, is that I didn't even talk to Vernon that night, and we both showed up at the game.
Yeah, and I came after track practice. I was like, let's go watch these two teams play, and I was walked away very, very impressed. So let's talk about some of your players a little bit. We'll start with Kiera Brown, averaging, I guess, about 10.5, 8.5 rebounds, doing a lot of everything, and probably the biggest kind of holdover perhaps from last year. How has she adjusted to your style of play? What has she brought to the table for your squad?
She does a little bit of everything, like you said. She's a kid you just know your energy-wise what you're going to get out of her every night. When I watch the film, and she's got the pink shoes. Did you guys see the pink shoes? You just see those pink shoes just flying everywhere the whole game. And I mean, it's comical, but she's all around the ball the whole game. I mean, whether it's a rebound, it seems like she falls a lot, but she's always around the play. She's just freaking flying around, hitting people, physical, not mean, but just plays tough, And underrated passer, very good passer, very unselfish. There's times I have to tell her to shoot the ball more. A kid that if she was on the team where there was nobody around her, could shoot it 20 times and go get 25 points, no problem. Have some 30-point nights for sure. And she's had to buy into the role of, hey, you've got some good kids around you right now. Mm-hmm. Can you say 10 points is good enough if we're getting wins? And she doesn't. She could care less. I've never heard her come down after a game and say, what I have. How many did I have, Coach? What did I have? She'll want to know when I do the stats, how many rebounds did I have? Hey, did I get 5 steals? I think I had 4 or 5 steals. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. I mean, you got kids saying these stats that I care about, now they're caring about. And so Key's somebody that you can build a program around.
So you did put some stats out there, so I went and checked them out.
Yep.
And Scales she's a stat bag filler. She's all over 11 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 3.8 steals. But, I mean, when you watch her play, she's got, and something, again, you haven't seen in this area a while, skills, handling the ball, being able to cross over, make moves, and just finishing around the rim. Talk a little bit about the senior Scales.
Shay's somebody that I think any coach's dream kid in terms of a floor general. She understands what I want. We haven't been together long, but she understands from a perspective of find her, and then, there's a time where you need to say, all right, I need to go get some. Go get me 2 points, Shay. And she can do that. The steals is what's so impressive. She doesn't ever seem like she's so explosive. She's the fastest kid on the floor, and she's really not, but she's around the ball, and it's a high IQ. She's going to go make a college coach look real smart for 2 years or 4 years, depending on the route she wants to go. But she is a kid you can just plug in every night as your starting point guard, and she's going to go. And it's I'll touch on a few others right now because I've got a couple other real nice seniors. Tavia Holt, and she's one that I don't know how much she played her sophomore year. I know last year she played a pretty big role, and I think was, if I remember right, Coach Campbell gave her MVP award. Mm-hmm. Probably my best or second best defender on the ball. Jade Waldrop, my other senior guard, both tremendous, and I can just almost rotate those two without thinking about anything, and they can just freaking guard. I mean, one-man press, and that's kind of what happened at Metro. We extended Jade up and Tavia up, and it was just a nightmare for their opposing guards. And if you've got 2 kids like that with the pressure I want to run, it's tremendous. And then Tylese, not to forget about Wallace in there in the middle.
I saw Wallace at the game. I was like, how many kids you got, man? Because he just keeps turning out athletes.
He's got a 6th grader that's going to be a special one too. I think she's a big old 6th grader. But Tylese doesn't. I thought she'd be in foul trouble all the time because she really likes to block shots. She doesn't get in foul trouble. She's got good hands for her size. From a defense,
good rebounding the ball too. Her numbers are good.
She's been impressive rebounding the ball, and then blocking shots. She's my best shot blocker by far. So those 4 seniors have really helped kind of give me good leadership, and at the same time, it's tough as a senior, especially a kid that was at Schlagle last year, to say, all right, I'm going to accept everything this guy's doing. I'm going to believe in what he's doing, and we're going to win some games this year.
So you have what could potentially be a budding star in Miss Lawson. Is this potentially one of the most talented freshmen you've dealt with?
The most talented that I've been around. I was around a girl named Bree Coolis who went to K-State, went back to Johnson County Community College, and then led the SEC in scoring at Missouri. And was actually drafted in the WNBA draft last year, 3rd-round pick, and didn't end up staying on the team. It was San Antonio, but went to play overseas. But she, even as a freshman, didn't play anything but JV. And it's not like Rihanna's in a situation where there's no talent. We're just playing her because we have to. She literally, and if I play her more the first 2 games, we're probably sitting here saying, "Good job, you're 7-0." I didn't know what I had. I'm just sitting here saying, I got a pretty good freshman. She'll swing. She'll play some JV. I'm telling Mom she'll probably get 2-3 quarters varsity, and I mean I can't say enough about her. She doesn't. The kid doesn't. She doesn't get on social media. The kid. I think she finally got a Twitter account, and it's probably because I have one, but she doesn't have a Facebook. She watches old YouTube film and just stuff where she's like, "Coach, look at this move," and I'm like, "What do you? You're 14 years old. Go." And so it's awesome. I mean, the kid's going to be special. Her personality is very unique, where she loves the game.
You can tell how much she's working just because of the different ways she finishes around the rim. She's got floaters. She's going off glass. I mean, a few times I was looking at her, I was like, oh, that's going to be a miss. But she's off glass, and she's knocking it in. So you could tell she's putting a lot of work in, too, so dedicated to the craft.
And one thing I'll say, and this is a credit to Peyton, Coach Leslie has worked with her individually for the last couple of years, and her mom has told me before she couldn't dribble a few years ago. You know, so Peyton does a tremendous job of individual skill development. And I don't know that a lot of people even know that he does that for some of these younger kids, but it's definitely been a benefit to me. I mean, as coming in and he's working with Rihanna, and I think Rihanna's mom and Peyton grew up together. So
I was gonna say, is it
it's Ree Ford.
Is her mom a little bit of a headache for you though? I mean,
no. Ree is
no, I did.
Awesome.
We did go to school with her.
Yeah, Ree's awesome. She's as supportive as it gets. I think after the first game, she said, "Aren't you playing my daughter?" But it was one of those deals where everybody in the gym, if you watch the game, said, "Why is number 3 not out there more?" Right. I'm the only idiot that didn't realize it in the room. So
right. So what's your goals? I mean, going forward now, what sky the limit for Schlagle basketball, or just go one game at a time?
Improvement as my goal. We talk about goals. Obviously, to win the KCAL is something. I don't know why coaches shy away from saying our goal is to win league. I think every coach's goal should be to win league and to make state. I mean, I think that's the goal that you set out, and if you don't set those goals, then for me, I know my first year in Colorado, our goal was to win a state championship, and we talked about that openly. We talked about that, and we had a heck of a run. We came close. We ran into a buzzsaw of a team that had some 3 Division I girls on there, and we didn't win a state title, but we made it to the state semifinal game, and so I've never been afraid to talk about goals with kids. My goal, though, and I talk about this all the time, is just let's play against each other. Let's challenge ourselves. Don't worry about playing against Metro if we win the game because we were strong every possession, and that's fine. But each possession has to be improvement. And as cliche as that sounds, it is real talk. I think that we definitely have talked about the fact that we want to go 10-0 in the KCAL. We knew Sumner was the team to beat. I wasn't around when Atchison was here at the top, so I've looked back at years past and seen what their records were. And but Sumner clearly up there. Washington's in the top 25 in the state in a lot of polls right now. So we've got a huge challenge Monday. It's going to be a good gauge for, are we as good as we think we are? Go out and try to compete against a top 25 team and see what see where you're at. So I think
that game at Washington.
It's not. It's at home, so the first one's the next one's going to be loud for me because we're right before Coach King and Coach Leslie get to square off. But
okay, me and Coach Western have a little side bet going. We won't talk about it here. I might have to buy some pizza if something happens. We'll see.
And I'm excited to see where we're at for Monday. I think the girls are really itching. They know everybody over there, so all the girls, it's competitive. So.
Of course, we cover all 14 schools in our area, but both of us being Stallions, we always root and ride or die with the Stallions. And my next question is, why haven't we gotten any Lady Stallions apparel?
Where's the swag?
What do you guys want?
You didn't get the memo?
You guys want some hoodies? You guys want some? You've been lifting enough to get your Under Armour. What do you want? We got some dry fits.
I do the dry fit.
A little dry fit?
Just whatever fits.
How much does it stretch? Very cool. All right, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time and definitely keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully you guys keep finding success and keep improving. Well, I'm impressed, and I'm sure Vernon is as well.
I appreciate you guys. And I'll say one thing. Thank you for the highlight video. I think my girls said they watched it about 30 times yesterday, so I think you might have been.
That's why the hits are up.
The production, the production at Schlagle yesterday for the basketball players was probably down. It's your fault. So.
No, but it's what you're gonna get on game day because then they know that eye is watching and they're gonna get that highlight.
Well, they love it. Absolutely. Thank you guys for what you do.
Hey, no doubt. All right, we'll be right back. Talk with Mr. Theo Bass at Wyandotte.